Hi, I'm Jen Campus. I'm 34 years old and I live in Hyde Park, Vermont. So why are we outside on a snowy day when we're going to talk about making a dish? It's because food comes from the earth, either animals or plants. That's part of my big food philosophy. So we're going to go right into the barn here and get some eggs from our chickens so that we can make my dish. Welcome to the hen house. These are all of our lovely little chickens, and we're going to see if they made us some eggs today. Hi ladies, how are you? Oh look, yep, got some eggs. With a feather attached. Gathering the eggs here. Want to say hi everybody? Say hi to all the nice people. Here's our lovely eggs. We can use some of those in the dish that I'm going to make today. So this is where we live. We live on a small homestead in northern Vermont. Out there is some pasture land that's going to be perfect for when I get sheep and goats this spring, because I'm going to start making some cheese and some butter and cream from our animals. This is just the beginning with the chickens. And if the weather was nicer, we'd go to the garden to get the rest of the ingredients for the dish. But luckily this spring and summer I was able to preserve a lot of that, and so I'll just be going into the freezer to get a lot of the rest of the ingredients. Hello, welcome to the Leftover Queen Kitchen. So why is it the Leftover Queen Kitchen? That's because that's my food blog, and most people in the food blogging world know me as the Leftover Queen instead of Jen. So I wanted to share with you just some fun things in my kitchen that I've been working on. Like I said in my application, I always make everything from scratch. There's no boxes really in this house. Pretty much everything that comes in a package has one ingredient, and it's the ingredient that I want. So then I create a lot of things out of those ingredients. Right here we're curing some olives. We bought these olives fresh from a farm in California. They shipped it to me in the mail, and they've been soaking for probably about a month now. So this is the first time I've ever cured olives, and I'm curious to see how they're gonna work out. But they look pretty, and they should taste pretty good soon. This lovely thing right here is actually some limoncello that I'm brewing. We used to live in Florida, and we had a Meyer lemon tree. So before we moved to Vermont, I got all the lemons and took the peels, and this thing has been soaking for literally 8 months. And I just added some honey to it so that it's going to become sweet, and we'll be able to enjoy it for the holidays. This contraption everybody always asks me about. This is my grain grinder, and I use it when I'm grinding grains of all different kinds for baking. I used to bake with wheat sourdough, but I found out that I have a gluten allergy, so now I've been grinding things like oats to make oat flour, also quinoa flour and buckwheat flour, which works really, really well for all kinds of baking. And so this is a new thing that I'm learning, and so far it's working out pretty good. These interesting little jars that I have going on are my cultured dairy products. This is a yogurt that I make. It's actually a Finnish yogurt that you can make right on your countertop. You just get the culture and you put milk in it and you sit it on your countertop for 24 hours, and then you can keep making yogurt from the yogurt from the previous batch. So this has been going on for months now. We love it. It's really great with granola, which I make as well. And this over here is kefir, which is sort of like a yogurt drink. It's one of our favorite things, and we drink it every day. It's got probiotic properties, and it's just super tasty and healthful. We don't even put any sweetener in it, but you can put maple in it maybe to make it tasty. We put it in smoothies. It's really, really good. So this little creature here is Minnie P. She's my assistant in the kitchen. She likes to clean up after all of my messes. And she does a great job. You can see she's doing it right now. Say hi to everyone! So anyway, today I would like to share with you, finally we are getting to my dish. And my dish is what I like to call the Breakfast of Champions. This is a dish that I developed when I started working out. I'm really into weightlifting. I like to use my kettlebell, and I was really looking for a breakfast that combined a lot of healthy ingredients that were going to keep me going and allow me to do my workouts and feel good. And I wanted to use real food. Didn't want to use protein powders or any of those bars or supplements. I wanted to use real food and make my own dish. So this dish has kind of become my signature dish because I just put so much into it. And actually it was just recently featured in a cookbook that was put out by Posit Science about recipes for brain fitness. So there I am, the leftover queen. And there's some eggs. And so as we can see from the whole premise, eggs are really the cornerstone of this dish. So here we have our eggs that we gathered from the chicken coop this morning. I am heating up in this cast iron skillet some oil. I use cast iron skillets all the time. It's the best non-stick implements that you can use in the kitchen. There's none of that Teflon stuff. I don't like any of that, so I pretty much use cast iron or enameled cast iron for all of my cooking. So, as I pointed out, the main ingredient for this dish are eggs. That's the main protein source that's in it, as well as some cheese. Here I have some local Vermont Chev. I use a lot of local ingredients. We have a lot of wonderful organic farms in our area, and pretty much I don't go to the grocery store for much besides paper products because we have such a huge variety of local produce and products all throughout the year. So I pretty much shop at farmers markets, at the farms directly, or at farm stores, which is really, really nice. So here's some beautiful bit of Vermont right here. Look at that lovely cheese. One day I'm going to be making this myself, and then I won't even have to buy it from the farm. Here I have some nice sprouted quinoa that I use. This is the grain component to this. It helps to give the dish a little bit of bulk and makes you feel filled. But as quinoa, it has a lot of protein in it, as well as a lot of fiber and a lot of other good things that's really, really good for you. Here I have some lacinato or Tuscan kale. If you don't have kale and if you don't like kale, you could use anything from spinach to Swiss chard to arugula. I use all different kinds of greens to make this dish throughout the year, depending on what's in season, what's in our garden, what we got at the farmer's market. But right now, since it's winter, kale is definitely available, so that's what I'm going to use today. Then I use a little bit of my own herbs de Provence that I've made up. It's got some dried lavender in it, some thyme, some basil, and a couple of other little spices. I even put a little bit of chili powder in here too, just to give it a little bit of heat because I like some heat in my spices. So this is pretty much the components that we have for this dish. It's very simple. Also some olive oil for heating up to make everything. But you can really, really change this up. Sometimes if I don't want to use the quinoa, I'll use buckwheat. I also like to use leftover potatoes. If we had potatoes the night before and we didn't eat them all, like oven fried potatoes or something like that, I'll cut them up and I'll put that in the bottom. If we want something extra hearty, I might add some loose, organic, pasture-raised pork to it, some pork sausage. So you can really use whatever you have on hand. That is my biggest philosophy when it comes to cooking, is just make sure you have really good staples on hand and use them. And just use what you have. You know, if you got cheddar cheese instead of goat cheese, use cheddar cheese. I mean, it tastes really great, and that way you're not having the same breakfast every day. You can really change it up. So what I'm gonna do is start by sauteing this quinoa. Gets it a little bit nice and brown. Smells so good. I just love it. So all I've done here so far is just saute up the quinoa and the greens in my oil. And so now what I'm going to do is just put a little spice on it. I really like the herbs de Provence. It brings out a really nice flavor with all of this, especially if you're using something like sausage. It really, really goes well. It's a simple, nice French herb combination. It's very classic, and it just smells so good. I mean, the lavender is amazing. People that aren't used to cooking with dried lavender, it doesn't taste like a flower. It just gives this amazing aroma. It's like aromatherapy for the kitchen. I really love it. I love it in baking. It goes great with lemon. I recently made some cookies that were limoncello and lavender, and it really, really is wonderful. So now what I'm going to do is add this goat cheese, but first I'm going to, you always have to pay your help, so we'll give a little bit treat to Minnie P. Minnie P, here you go, sweetie. Gotta pay your help, gotta keep them happy. But I'm just going to crumble this little bit of goat cheese on here. Really adds a nice flavor, very good creaminess. I love it. And I'm just going to take 2 of these eggs and crack them on top. This way, if you're not good at poaching eggs, you don't have to worry about the technique because you have this wonderful bed of greens and other things on the bottom, so the cooking is really even and easy. Look look at these beautiful yolks on this eggs. I mean, you just don't get this unless you've got farm fresh eggs. It's just such a nice, almost orange color, just beautiful. So I'm just gonna put my lid on for about 2 to 3 minutes so that everything can get a little bit harder. And I like to serve these with the yolks nice and soft so that when you crack them open, it just goes all over the cheese and the greens and the grains, and it's really, really wonderful. While our eggs are cooking, I thought I would just show you around the kitchen a little bit more. Here's my pantry. Isn't this so cute? I love it. I live in a log cabin, and I just fell in love with this pantry because it's just so rustic and cute. I mean, you can see all the beams and everything up in the kitchen. I love cooking in this kitchen because it just feels so homey and so rustic, and that's totally my personality. So here is the pantry, and as you can see, I have all these kind of like loose little ingredients. Here's some lentils. I have some of my quinoa here, just in jars, and I make it as I see fit. You know, I like to use oats a lot. Like I said, I grind them, and I have, you know, different varieties. I got some Scottish oats here. I got some Irish oats around here somewhere. Oats are a gluten-free person's friend. And I've got all my sweeteners. I don't use any cane sugar in my cooking. Now that I live in Vermont, maple syrup and maple sugar is so prevalent, I prefer it. And so I really use that mostly in my baking and my cooking, but I also have some wild raw honey and some date syrup. And I also, I don't know, just have some other stuff. Sometimes I use dried fruits in my baking to make it sweet, like dates are great for that. So we basically just have a lot of raw ingredients in here that really make it easy for me to cook pretty much 3 meals a day from scratch without too much trouble. So here's our eggs. They are perfect. I'm just gonna put a little bit of pepper on them just to make them look really nice. And as you can see, the yolks are pretty much perfect. I don't know how I get the luck to do it that way. I don't have a secret. I just kind of have this internal clock. It's the same with pasta. My husband is from Italy. He loves his pasta. We use corn pasta, but I always know when it's going to be done. I'll have a little taste of it, and I'll say, it needs 3 more minutes. And darn if it's not 3 minutes, and it's perfect. So I just have this crazy internal clock when it comes to cooking. Usually this is a dish for 2 people. That's why there's 2 eggs, but I'm sure if you have a really hungry appetite, you can go ahead and eat both of them. But I'm just gonna dish this up here on my plate. And you know, why don't we have a bite? I think that might just be perfect. Look at this, you've got the nice gooey cheese and all the crispy bits. I love this dish, it's so good. Let's just try it out. Let's see if the yolk is good. Oh yeah. Look at that. Yeah, that's pretty perfect. I think this is my bite right here. I always find the perfect bite on my plate. Usually it's the last bite. I save all the perfect little bits from it, and then at the end, I'll just eat it as my last thing. But I'm gonna try to do that for time's sake with the first bite, which I think this is a pretty perfect bite. Hopefully I won't burn myself. That's good. Warm goat cheese. There's nothing like it. Now you can understand why I want to get my own goats. So just in summary, because we have to wrap this tape up, and I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to look at my video and to review my application. I believe so much in bringing real food out to the world. This is kind of my mission on my blog, and it's really, I think, something more people need to know about. Homesteading, traditional foods, making food from scratch. But you know, I do have things to learn, and I really, really appreciate Gordon and what he does, and I love that he has such a commitment to using fresh produce and fresh foods, and he's just done a lot of miracles on Kitchen Nightmares. I love that show. So it would be amazing to be able to learn from him and be able to really get some more skills in the kitchen to be able to bring my message out. So in closing, I just want to cheat a little bit and read my bio from the cookbook because it really summarizes what I'm all about and why reinvent the wheel. So here we go. Jen is a homespun cook who blogs about using leftovers and pantry essentials to make frugal, healthy, and delicious meals using local, seasonal, and traditional foods. She gives her readers tips on how to easily incorporate this philosophy into busy lifestyles, advocating healthy eating for everyone, the young, old, economically challenged, and everyone in between. Jen loves to discuss fitness as it relates to food. She likes activities like archery, weightlifting, and hiking. This has led to a passion for creating nourishing foods full of nutrients needed to give her the energy to do what she loves. So that's pretty much what I'm all about. And if you want to learn more about me, I suggest that you go check out my website, www.leftoverqueen.com, read my About page, check out some of my other recipes. And again, thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you on the show.